In this video, traders, let's look at how long does it take to become a profitable trader. Stick around. Hey guys, very warm welcome to you. Thank you so much for joining me. So, how long does it take to become a profitable trader? Let me cut straight to the chase and I'll talk about what I've drawn on here. I think if you allow 4 years, that's a reasonable estimate. Now, why do I say that? Do I think you can do it in shorter time? Absolutely. I think if you seek the right guidance, if you put in the effort, if you learn from mistakes, if you can fix some of these challenges, if you can become disciplined, if you do this and do that, you can halve it, and 2 years is probably where you're going to be. In fact, I've seen people who are doing okay in 1, but they're vulnerable. They're vulnerable because they haven't seen much market conditions. And we hear stories of people trading straight away who are kind of profiting straight away. My only concern with that is if you haven't seen different market cycles, it's relatively easy to come into the market, trade a certain way only, make some money, but it's how you perform when the conditions change, when it goes quiet, when it draws down a little, the market goes into a bear market. That's the longevity of a trader. So, the funny thing is, guys, it's very, very difficult to kind of predict how someone's going to do. I know some traders have been way more than 4 years and they're still just trying to make it work. But if you think about 4 years, you go, okay, I'm going to allow 4 years. It's not like we're going to do a degree for something that's worthwhile. 4 years, start to get decent results. If you work on that, and if you think to yourself, do I still want to be trading in 4 years if I'm not getting results? And the answer is yes, because you love the markets, then you're in a good spot, right? But if you suddenly got some sort of financial pressure and you say, I've only got a year to do it, and you've just started, can it be done? Of course it can be done. Anything can be done if you apply the right pressure, but just know you're going to be at the other end of that bell curve of one of the unlikely winners who makes it work very, very quickly. And that's just my take on it, guys. Let me know your thoughts on that. You think it's 4 years, 3 years, 2 years, 2 months? I don't think it's 2 months, but what's your take on how long it takes to become a profitable trader? And by the way, when I say a profitable trader, for me, that's someone who can take money regularly out of the markets, whether that's accumulating wealth in their account, whether that's taking some money, some extra cash to use and to spend, or whether it's their full-time job. I think that's when there's some consistency to it. We blur these lines between profitability and consistency, and there is no definition as such. But for me, a profitable trader is someone in the short term anyway who's able to profit most months of the year, and the year green, and to have profits most months. That pretty much to me defines a profitable short-term trade. Now, of course, people trading slightly longer term, they might not have a couple of quarters of loss because they're holding trades there, and then it might end the year green, maybe some of the reason longer term guys in the year red, and then recover it year after. But I think for us, most of on this channel, most of you guys, you're short-term traders looking to get most months profitable in the year green. That's what I consider. Yeah, you're profitable, you're doing okay. But then there's the argument to say, well, obviously someone's profitable for 2 years and then all of a sudden wipes it out in 2 years. Are they still profitable? Well, they're not. Which is why you can't just say, hey, I'm profitable, yes, I've made it, because you're always vulnerable to drawdown. Drawdown's always going to happen. You have to manage it, and that's part of the game. That's why when someone's brand new and they've made money, just be careful, because you will draw down, and how you deal with the drawdown is a separator. So remember that as well. Anyway, that's my take on it. I've skipped straight to my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. But what's the journey? I want to talk a little about the journey. So I think there's 4 hurdles that you've got to jump through, and many people jump back. First thing is building a plan. You might say, well, that's really easy, build a plan. No, most people struggle with this. They look at all the markets, they look at what everyone else is doing, they see forex, they see currencies, they see indices, they see options, they see short-term trading, they see scalping, they see mean reversion, they see trending, and they're just all over the place. And they make a bit of progress with some of the basics, drawing trend lines, doing your technical analysis, become great at charts, but they never seem to mesh that into the real world of trading. If it was just drawing charts, we'd all be absolutely super profitable and never losing because the structure of charts, you've done this, I draw my trend line, it's going to bounce off. There's a subtlety, there's a nuance, there's when to draw it, there's when to take the trade, there's when to take a fake out, when to take a breakout. There's stuff that comes with experience, and sometimes it's very difficult to quantify, and I try and do that sometimes. And we're like, okay, yes, looks like we're going to break through this. I'm prepared to preempt this breakout because of X, Y, Z. So you can do it, but ultimately, it's not just charting. There's a nuance there. There's a gut feel. There's an intuition. So, many traders get to this point where they go, okay, I just haven't got a plan. I'm struggling, I'm losing money, I'm all over the place, I'm not structured. And that drops out many people. But let's say you manage to get a plan, you get an edge, you find a strategy that's working, it's effective, you start to put some numbers on the board, you start to get some profitability, then great, you hop over and here you are. You're now at hurdle number 2. Hurdle number 2 is becoming disciplined. So becoming disciplined, you can get over hurdle 1 with a reasonable strategy and get away with a lot of stuff. But when you're tested with drawdown, when you're tested with quiet markets, when you're tested with different conditions, when you're tested with wanting to overtrade, FOMO and stuff, you have to build discipline. And I'm gonna guess that this is the one that knocks out people the most. They get a strategy, maybe they follow someone else's strategy, they get okay, but the discipline, maybe they just about get it, but then it rears its ugly head again and whacks them down, and they just never get past hurdle 2. But if you pass that, let me just say, if you pass the point where you have a plan and you're becoming disciplined, and most of the time you're sticking to the plan, sticking to the rules and being disciplined, you're well ahead of the game. Boom, you're over there. You're looking now at hurdle number 3. Hurdle number 3 is changing strategy. What do you mean, Mark, changing strategy? Well, if you're in the markets for any long period of time, you're going to find the strategy that you're using is no longer as effective and you need to adjust and adapt. That's when you draw on your thousands of hours of screen time going all the way through. So you're saying, right, the strategy's working, it's effective, I'm disciplined. Hey, the strategy's not effective anymore. I need to adjust, I need to change, something's changed. The market is always changing, adapting. So you looking for a new strategy. Sometimes people, especially like the old prop traders, for example, they've been trading some very specific stuff on their short-term interest rates. Then when it changed, they didn't know what to do. They had no other strategy. So it's having that flipping strategy, changing approach, changing market conditions, change, so that you can then continue and get over that hurdle and say, yeah, you know what, I'm effective with different strategies. Maybe you're not as effective as you were with your first strategy, but you're aware of it, you're spotting it, you're now riding the new wave of the market. So that to me is kind of number 3. And the thing is, you get some decent money on the board up until that point. Depends when the market changes, but for longevity, I think being able to adjust and adapt. You can't just buy dips. Going to a bear market, you're going to get killed, for example. You can't just be mean reversion trades in a trading market, you're going to get smashed. But in a range bound market, if it's range bound for 2 years, did that, you're going to make loads of money. And the final thing is increase in size. So it's okay to be at a point where you're doing okay, you've changed your strategy, you're reasonably effective, you've got reasonably good numbers, you're disciplined, but then it comes, okay, dialing the size up. And dialing the size up is always, it's a constant game anyway, always trying to trade more and make more from the trades that we're taking, but that's a challenge in itself. Get to the point where, oh, that's a bit uncomfortable, that's a reasonable size vehicle in risk. Am I happy with that? Let me dial it back a bit. So that's a challenge as well. And of course, this isn't like, all right, well, once I've done this and I've done this, I'm going to hit the rainbow at the end of the pot of gold. We're going to be moving back and forth, and sometimes, the hurdle might come, and we might be deal with another discipline issue. Maybe there's volatility kicked up, and we're like, oh, we feel like we get seduced by volatility. So, it's never ending. All the strategy's ineffective to go back and build a plan. So, constantly got these things to go through, and it never ends. And that's the joy of the markets, guys. That's why we enjoy it. Obviously, the financial aspect is fantastic too, but we enjoy the journey, the challenge, the puzzle, every day, new puzzle. So those 4 things tend to be what stops people, or I say stops. It does stop some, but if you're here on this channel, you're probably committed and ambitious and want to drive forward. And it probably is more a case of it's going to slow you down. And being aware of what you're trying to do and then getting over the hurdle and moving to the next, to the next, to the next is, in my opinion, the best way to attack things. Take care, guys. See you next one. Bye-bye.